Yeah, it was a good gym. One of my favorites,
But your
for
gym
sure.
looks amazing. I've seen all the pictures you posted and stuff, and it looks like a awesome gym.
Yeah, it's very like, it's just it's kind of like more of the vibe of like Fitness Quest, the original Fitness
Okay.
Quest there. It's very like old school and stuff, but like tons of equipment. So it's not all fancy like Good Life or something like that. So
Right, right. That's the best kind of gym.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. And so when did you open it?
I think when did COVID hit? Like, was it 2019 or something? Or I don't remember.
2020.
Was it that one? It says we opened up like I think 6 months before COVID opened or hit,
Okay.
and so uh, I think we were like at that time already profitable though, so it was pretty like we were pretty lucky. We opened and we're pretty profitable like right within like 6 months kind of deal right off the start. So but we didn't have much bills because it just so happened like when we decided to open up a gym. First of all, everyone was like, "Don't open up a gym." It's like we got a million gyms in Regina, never going to be, good, not make money. That's what everyone kind of thought deal. And then we were just kind of like, well, we're opening a gym. We didn't really think about like, are we going to lose money or whatever, right? So we
Right.
just a couple gyms in Regina, and then in Saskatoon, just happened to go to business
Mhm.
right when we were thinking about doing a gym, and then it was like within the same week we decided to do a gym. These two gyms went out of business, and then basically, you know, got a bunch of equipment. So it
That's
was just
awesome.
very lucky timing because we got it before all the equipment was like ridiculously priced. Like now it's
Right.
ridiculous, all the prices. So
Right.
we bought basically a whole full gym of equipment and got it pretty cheap. And so we were pretty lucky about that. But
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. And so we've known each other for what, like 25 years or something, like a really long
oh
time.
yeah, long time. Yeah, long time. I
You
think
were one of
were you just out of high school maybe, or just like
yeah.
a year or two out of yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was just
yeah,
out of high school. You were like
yeah,
you're my first real coach.
yeah,
I worked with like a couple people that didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
yeah.
But yeah, you taught me a lot, and it was it was that the lifestyle was like so much different back then. Well, the lifestyle wasn't, but like how the gyms were, the gym vibes was so different back then.
Yeah, I don't even remember like when I first moved out there, there was no one was there was no coaches really. There was no coaches.
Right.
Like
Right.
I went to how I kind of got into it. Well, I knew I wanted to bodybuild, but how I got into it, I moved to Vancouver and I wasn't even 19 yet, but
Oh wow.
I think I just about turned 19, moved to Vancouver and started working out at the Golds in North Van.
Okay.
No, sorry, mistake. I lived with my mom in downtown there and the East End,
Yeah.
and for the first couple of months, or 6 months maybe, I worked out with some wrestler guys at night at that neighborhood gym. Do you ever remember that gym on Granville
No.
Street, the corner of Granville? It was on the corner of
No.
Granville. Yeah, it's a hotel now, but it was a corner of Granville, and it was like Vancouver's only like 24-hour gym.
Oh, cool.
And so it was just the owner was real sketchy though, and like, I would
Yeah.
go I would go train after my job that I worked at Cactus Club, a cook there. It was a fun job anyways. I'd go after and work out at like 2:30 in the morning, and,
Right.
so I'd show up there, and there was a rest just kind of like oddballs showing up, weird people showing up at those hours, like strippers and stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
I started working out with some guy that'd show up the same time as me, and he found out he was in like that wrestling, and so he just got back from Japan and like the wrestling WWF kind of over there.
Oh,
And so
okay. Yeah, it's big
I
in
remember
Japan.
yeah, yeah. So I remember training with that guy for probably 3 or 4 months, and then he was then we I started working out at Golds anyways, but then he's I remember this funny story. One day he was saying that, his buddy who's coming to town, who's a
Yeah.
wrestler from Japan, and he was like the Hulk Hogan kind of over there, and he was staying at his
Okay.
house for a week or 2, and he's like, "Can I bring him?" Yeah, so I went and picked him up, and who was it that came out? It was, Chris Jericho, and it
Oh,
was before
okay.
he was like, a big star, right? So he was just
Who's
with,
the
like,
guy
big
you're
hair.
talking about? Who's the guy you're talking about that you were working out with? What's his name?
I can't remember his name. I can't remember. I know
Was it
exactly what he
Paul
looks like.
was it Paul Lazenby?
No, but
Oh.
sorry, and he was Paul Lazenby's roommate at that time.
Oh, really? Because 'Cause I'm
I
really good
hadn't
friends
met
with Paul
Paul.
Lazenby.
Yeah, I hadn't met Paul yet, but his roommate was going. Paul would know who he is, right?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Paul
That's
would know
so
he's because
funny.
yeah, yeah. So it was his roommate, and he went to this neighborhood gym and working out with him, and then whatever. So like Chris Jericho came, and I just like this guy's like he wasn't big, but he like had like
Yeah,
this big rock star hair, and I remember he had like all these
right.
earrings in his head. I was like, this kind of a goofy guy, anyways. But and then, and then like a couple months later, I think he was on WWF or something.
Oh,
I was like, hey,
really?
that's the fucking yeah. I was like, hey, that's the guy. But so
That's
yeah,
funny.
Paul. That's funny that he was Paul's roommate actually, because Paul was in wrestling too, right?
Yeah, he used to do some wrestling. That
Yeah,
sounds
and
so
then
funny, but just as
powerlifting
you
and
were
stuff.
describing it, I'm like, "I wonder if he's talking about Paul."
Yeah, yeah. I think they used to
That's
live down
so
somewhere because I picked the
crazy.
guy up. I think he lived down by that sushi place Tampopo on Denman and Davy.
Oh. Yeah, okay, I know that place. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, and then when did you start training at one I think it was called World Gym back then, the one that, Carlos owned it for a while, then
Oh,
Randy and his brother?
that was. I never really trained there. I was friends with Carlos.
Oh.
And so, like, I used to go visit him all like, once in a while out there just to see him because
Oh.
he didn't really come in town to the gym, so I was more like I kinda was more around, like, Desiree Ellis, Kat
Mhm.
Sarter,
Yeah.
my training partner was Brian Joseph at the time. Oh, I trained with Desiree too,
Yeah.
but
Oh, they're Desiree and Kat are the best. I love them.
yeah.
But they stopped training competitors quite a while ago because I remember when I was still competing, I asked them I remember I asked Kat, I was like, if she would train me, and she was like, "Nobody could pay me enough to train a competitor." And at the time, I thought that was so weird, but now I get it.
Yeah,
Now I'm
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm in the same boat."
Yeah, she saw me at Gold's Gym probably the first year I was there at the North one because she was training out of there.
Okay.
People, and I remember she came up to me one time and was like, because I trained pretty hard, I just didn't know what I was doing, and I think
Mhm.
she said like, "You need to get some sessions from me to learn how to train better," kinda deal, and then I remember, like, they
Okay.
were like and I think I bought, like, 5 sessions off her, and they're like 100 they were $100 each. I was like, "Fuck, that's expensive. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know one was really getting trainers. I think she might have been one of the only kind of trainers, but,
Right.
uh, she took me through some workouts and showed me a lot of, like, stuff I was doing wrong and stuff. Uh, and I think I might have even did some training sessions with her at Fitness Quest later on. But anyways, she at some point had said to me after she had seen me in the gym all the time for a bit, she had said, "You need to go train at Fitness Quest with my
Yeah.
friend Brian Joseph." And he was a pro
Oh.
bodybuilder, and she was good friends with him. She goes, "You need to train at this gym." She must have thought I was like, serious or something. So, and that's where the
Yeah.
serious people went. So I went there, and then, she said, show up at this time kind of one day. And so I met her there, and then Brian was there.
Mhm.
Brian's a short guy, but he's a big dude, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
he, I think she, introduced me to him and basically said like, "Oh, she said, Brian, you need to train with this guy." And he was kind of like, "Yeah." And I was, I was like, "Okay, whatever." And anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, he was a little standoffish. And then, I was trained with him for a couple of years,
Mhm.
and, everyone seemed to train there. All the pro bodybuilders, but there wasn't many, but the pro bodybuilders that were in Vancouver
Yeah.
trained all there. So it was a hardcore environment, so it's
Mhm.
kind of like my gym now. Maybe my gym is obviously a lot busier than that was, but the same kind of environment. But
Yeah. I think I only went to Fitness Quest, like, once. I went there to meet Desiree. I was going to and I was so intimidated when I met her. I mean, she's the nicest person. I don't know why I was intimidated by her, but and I
if
first
you're
met her,
friends
she
with
had,
her,
like pardon me?
if you're friends with her.
If you're friends with her, she's super nice, right?
Right. I used to joke around that she was my bodyguard because we'd go out to different clubs sometimes, a bunch of
Yeah.
us, and of course she's wearing like next to nothing, right? On
Yeah, of
her
course.
tights and stuff,
And yeah,
and she's just
and
jacked, and then
dreadlocks.
yeah, and just jacked, right? And so, so I remember we'd be in the clubs and people would come up to us, or and she would just right away fuck off. Like I was like, oh God, I don't have to say anything, right? So there was
Oh.
a lot of those kind of things, right? So
Oh, that would have been funny. I never went out with her. I didn't really get to know Desiree until years later when I was competing, and she was really kind, and she'd come up to me and talk about and just be like very encouraging and very sweet. But when I first met her, I just out of high school, didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and she was just the first thing she said to me. She was like, "Take off all your clothes," and I'm like in the middle of Fitness Quest, and I was like, okay. She's like, "I need to look at you." And like, of course, that makes sense now to me. But as a teenager that was very shy and insecure, I was like, what the fuck? I was terrified. And but yeah, so it's just protocol. And then she's like, okay, cool, we'll like move forward or whatever. But then I didn't ended up training with her. I ended up staying with Susan, and then who really ended up I just training with you because with
yeah,
Susan,
it was me pretty much.
it was
It
you.
was probably me.
And then Susan dropped off and it was just you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but you were great because you were very kind and you taught me a lot, and you're very encouraging but also very funny and hilarious. And so it
Yeah.
was never like it wasn't like so serious and terrifying like with some people.
It
But
was
yeah,
probably
back in the day.
that was probably in the beginning when I first started training people, because
Mhm.
I think right after I won the BCs, which was weird, like, 'cause there was a few trainers, but then I had, like, a bunch of people wanting me to train them out of the blue, right? I had people
Right.
coming up to me all of a sudden just because I kinda did it myself,
Yeah.
and I kinda figured out some, like, stuff, and then, people came to me, and I just kinda kept doing the same thing after that. Because I know one of the things I did that a lot of people didn't do back then, I know they used to have cheat meals once in a while, but I used to do full cheat days.
Yeah.
And so we kinda had everyone kinda doing that. It seemed to work for everyone just about all the time anyway, so
Well, one thing is what was I worked with like a the only person I worked with on nutrition before I met you was actually I don't care if I say her name. Sandra Wickham. She was doing my diet, but she was so strange with it because she would like give you a diet plan, but she would never put the amounts of food. And I remember being like, how much chicken should I eat? How much sweet potato? She was like, just eat till you're full. And so she's like, and I would ask the other people that were training with her, like, how much food do you eat? And they're like showing me, and it's these like ridiculous amounts of foods. And of course I was making no progress because I'm eating tons of food. And then when I remember going and working with you and you're like, you have to fucking weigh it. Like,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
what, and it just made so much sense. But like, I did not, I didn't even think about those things before. Actually, that's not true. I used to weigh all my food beforehand, but then Sandra kind of like confused me because she's like, You should eat till you're full." And she was really shredded. So I'm like, she must know what she's talking about. But yeah, it didn't work for
yeah.
me.
Well, funny you mention that is because the first, when I first moved to Vancouver or whatever, and I first started training with Brian, maybe, I guess before I competed, the first, person I got help on was from Scott Abel. I actually
Is
got
that
help
her
from him.
husband?
So his wife, Laura Benetti.
I don't know who that is. Who are
Oh,
they?
so she was one of the big pros in she was one of the top pros in Canada when I first
Oh,
kinda
okay.
started in the, like, mid-90s,
Yeah.
and Scott Abel was her coach, her husband, and he was a big dude, and he was very smart too, and kinda came off as arrogant, but, whatever, he was pretty smart. But he came to Regina at one of the shows and then did a seminar after, and he was telling us all this stuff, like, it's like
Yeah.
this was very early on, like, this was just like when they used to print stuff in the Muscle Media magazines,
Right,
and,
right.
he used to, he was telling us, if you guys should be taking a couple of, Pepto-Bismol or Tums pills, like, before you train,
Right.
so it burns off lactic acid kinda deal. Doesn't
Okay.
hurt as much, right? So there was little tricks like that, and, he was the big trainer in Regina. But it's funny you mentioned that you didn't get amounts, because I think I paid him back then. It was $500 for the year, and I think I only
Right.
used him like for 6 or 7 months, because he basically printed me a workout. The workouts were fine, but then he sent me just basically like a list of proteins, carbs, and fats,
Yeah.
and just basically said, eat from that, and didn't tell me how many meals, didn't tell
Right.
me how much to eat. right?
Yeah.
So I was in the same boat. I was just like, but at that
What the
point I
fuck?
had, yeah, and that was my first start of my diet before I competed. Um, and I think, but I ate clean. It was clean food, but there was no amounts
Yeah.
on it. But
Right.
it might have worked. It might have worked for me. I know it did work for the first bit, just because I was 296 pounds to
Okay.
start, because that's when
Yeah.
I was training with Brian. And after training
Yeah.
with Brian, I think for a year and a half, I went from, 200 pounds, and I was 296 pounds. Like I was
Okay.
I, and I was,
You were
that's when I
huge.
was kind of, yeah, but I was fat and I was strong, but I was, I was big, I was
Yeah.
growing too, right? And I
Right.
and I and I remember, like, I kept on seeing Kat at the gym all the time, and I kept on getting bigger and bigger, and she'd be
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, just keep get bigger, just keep get bigger." So of
Yeah.
course, I just, like, I was eating foods nonstop with Brian, like, and he was at his heaviest. I think he got up to about 240, and he's kind of a midget, right? So he
Right.
was very big too, and but I was eating pizza pops in the middle of the night, like that was my
Right.
diet. I was
Yeah.
having I remember making up in the middle of the night doing protein shakes, and the protein powder back then was fucking garbage, and then
Yeah.
also throwing a pumpkin pie in there and blending it up. So every night I was eating like a whole pumpkin pie with a protein shake, and McDonald's all the time, and it
Oh
was
my
just like
god.
there was no, I
So
didn't even
bad.
think about protein, the calorie or protein at all. It was just like, gotta get food in, gotta get food in,
Right.
like, oh, I'll have 6 pizza pops for lunch. Like, it was just,
Right.
but it kinda, I think when you're young, you can kinda do that. But anyways, that's how I got, like, from, like, under 200 up to 296 in, like, a year and a half. And there was a
Right.
lot of fat, and it's way, I think from about 270 on, it wasn't like I didn't really get any stronger. It was just
Mhm.
everything after that was just kinda fat, and then I kinda,
Right.
but the goal was, like, to hit 300, right? Like, Brian was like, "Oh, you gotta get to 300," and everyone's,
Okay.
and I just looked like a fat mess, right? Like, it was,
Right.
and then I and
That's a
I
lot. I mean, like, if
yeah,
someone's maybe 6 foot something, then, like, they have to get to 300, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, have you ever
yeah,
got to
but
300?
yeah, well, no, I tried, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was hard, and I remember I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get to 300," and I remember I got to 296, and I
Yeah.
was like, it's only 4 more pounds. I coulda got there, probably just, like,
Oh,
drank a
right.
bunch of
Yeah.
water or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I got to 296, and I remember, like, I was like, "I gotta die. I am going to die." I was like, "I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna die in the next week here."
Right.
And
That's
I could,
terrible.
so I
So
couldn't, I had a
unhealthy.
panic attack. Yeah, yeah, I had, like, a panic
Yeah.
attack, and then I contacted the Scott Abel guy, and that's when he gave me the diet, this no
Right.
amounts, but I just ate clean, and then so I think
Yeah.
I got down to about 230,
Right.
so
Because you're so used to just eating like an obese pig.
right,
Like, that
right,
you're just shoving
right.
everything in your mouth.
It's funny because later on, that's how I sculpted all my diets. Basically, I was like,
Okay.
off season, eat whatever you want, as much as you want. And always felt like, and when people I trained, I thought, like, the fatter they are, the worse they get out of shape. I was like, the
Yeah.
easier it is to get them in shape, because all you got to do is, like, change the food, right? So that's
But it depends on the person, right? Because some people
yeah,
have
it
a
does. No,
really
it
hard
totally does.
time.
It
Yeah.
totally does. Yeah, it totally does. Right?
That would not work for me. I would just be like, It's so hard to lose the fat." So I'm like, "I need
Yeah.
to stay relatively lean." Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then that's kinda just how I would think about things later on, but
Yeah.
I was like, it's, and I think every year I competed, I got up to, like, 270 or over 270, like, almost 280, and I
Oh,
would drop
wow.
back down to just over 200, but, I mean, I don't know, I'm, like, 255 right now. I don't know if I'm sure I could get down, like, super lean or fairly lean anyways, but
Yeah.
not have quite all the muscle. But I know when I dieted down from, uh, 296 down to I made light heavyweight down to 196, I didn't
Yeah.
have any loose skin at all,
Right, right.
like, none, which is
Yeah.
odd, right? Like, everyone's like, "How do you get," I was like, "I don't know, I dieted over a year, I lost 100 pounds." Yeah, but it was over a
Because you
year
did it
kinda, so
gradually over time.
yeah, my skin
Yeah.
was super tight, and,
Yeah.
I had some stretch marks in my, pecs from, like, just
Of
getting
course.
really
Yeah.
fat, right? Um, every year I competed, I got to just about 280, I think, and I
Yeah.
then my if I could still kinda see the outline of my abs, I was like,
Mhm.
"Well, just keep getting heavier." That was my kind of, only in the morning, first thing, right? And
Yeah.
and a certain lighting. If I could, like,
Yeah. Like,
see it,
okay.
if I can see it, I could justify, like, "Okay, it's okay to eat McDonald's 3
That
times
could be
today."
a line. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep
So
going.
yeah. So, it usually got up to about, like, just about 280 every year, and then I would diet back down, and I never had loose skin ever. Even
Yeah.
the last time I competed, I never got loose skin, so it's, you know
I think it's like because you also you get actually get stage lean, right? Like so,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
a lot of people think they're stage lean, but they really have like 10 pounds to lose.
yeah.
You know?
No, that's I say that all the time. I was like, everyone in the gym when they start taking their shirts off, looking good in the gym, and they're getting ready for a show, they're all getting tanned up, and then you're looking in the mirror and they look good because they're still kind of full and stuff. I'm always like, another if you dropped another 10 pounds,
Yeah,
you would be actually good for staging. And then, they look good in the gym, they look super ripped because they're tanned and everything. And then they go on stage and the bright lights and they're like, yeah, still another 10 pounds, you know?
yeah, yeah. Always. I remember that. I remember one show I was dieting and I was the leanest I think I'd ever been, and I then I got a knee injury, and I was so pissed off because it was my own fault. I wasn't, like, stretching enough. I was doing, like, way too much cardio, and I was, like, basically just, like, running myself into the ground, and so I had to
I
take
think I remember
some
that.
time. Yeah, I had to take some time. I was working with, like, a not so smart coach at the
Mhm.
time, and
Yeah.
he was had me on a retarded diet and too much cardio, like 16 weeks out, and so, I, like, ran myself into the ground, but I was also my fault for not stretching and for listening to him. So, um, I remember looking at the pictures and then thinking that, I was like, "Oh, I was so lean here," and he was like, "You still have about 8 pounds to lose before you're stage lean." And I was like, I liked that he said that there. I was like, "Okay." I didn't know that, and, like, it motivated me. So, like, the next time I was like, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get there." And I remember by the time you got like, I was actually stage lean, I was like I looked actually, like, horrifying in person.
Yeah,
Like,
well, that's
I
that's
looked
that's how you can tell when someone's in really good shape. When people are happy and smiley at the gym and talking to
Yeah.
people, you're not in fucking stage shape.
No,
You're not, right? You never
and
are.
your
You should be
face
like,
looks like shit
yeah,
because it's
I
just
know I
like
know when Danny the first thing when Danny gets lean, she hates it because she starts looking like Skeletor, you know what
right,
I mean? But
right.
that's if you don't do that, that's you're not
Yeah,
getting in shape, right? You should be,
right.
I don't remember, like, every time I dieted, I mean, there wasn't cell phone cameras, but we had little cameras, and I was always like,
Yeah,
when I wasn't dieting, be like, "Oh, this year I'm gonna take some pictures and I'm lean, all this stuff." I think I did it once, but I didn't even
yeah.
wanna talk to anyone when I was dieting,
No, that's the
you
thing,
know?
is you feel so
I could go
terrible.
weeks. I think the last time I competed, I think, like, my ex, when I was with her, I think the last 4 weeks, I didn't even say a word to her. And
Right.
if she said something, I just "Meh," like, "Meh," like, I just gave her,
Yeah,
like, a mumble or something, right? And that's because, I remember my last show was probably the leanest I'd ever been in my life, and I was
yeah,
like, I knew it was probably gonna be one of my last shows. I'm like, I'm just getting as super lean as I can,
yeah,
like, no matter what kinda deal. And, because other contests that I was always like, a lot of times I never came in shape at nationals. The last time I came in shape, but every other year I didn't really come in shape because
yeah,
I was kind of fascinated with trying different things.
right.
And so, I would, like, right before a show, like, okay, no, I'm gonna 12 midnight with that Friday before the show. No, I'm gonna eat like 5 pizzas and this and that and a bunch of water and see what it does. And then I would show
Right,
up and it would
right,
just spill over, right?
right,
Or
right.
like, or I'd say, oh, I want to come in at this weight and not, well, how do you know what you're going to come in? I'd say,
Exactly.
I want to be 215, but I show up and I'm like, I should have been 205, not 215, right? So,
Right.
and then a lot of times my issues where I was over carbing because I was just trying different stuff all the time.
Mhm.
And then like that's how you figure out like you're for yourself, right? Is if
Right.
you do it yourself and try different stuff, sometimes it works. And when things do actually work, a lot of times, okay, that's what it is. I'll do it next time. It doesn't work.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah. And
There's
no, it's
no,
never the same thing,
yeah,
2 different times.
yeah,
Yeah, and when you actually are in shape and are, like, lean stage lean, you feel like death for like, at least a month before the
yeah,
show,
yeah.
and your face just looks, like, scary to everyone. Everyone's like, you look like a horrible, like,
Well, when
skeleton
I was in
person."
Vancouver, I remember that, like, because I got so fat all the time in the off season,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like that most of the year. When I dieted down, people who knew me, when I
Yeah.
could, if I hadn't seen them for 3 or 4 months, they wouldn't even recognize me. I just walk by them.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't look like the same person, and I had my 2 sets of clothes, right? I had my fat clothes and my
Yeah.
in shape clothes, right? So, you would never throw out the fat clothes because you're like, "Well, I'm just gonna be like that 6 months from now," right? You
Right.
know? Or you're trying to
But
wear
that's what
jeans and you're cinching them up, like, all the way. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's just how it is. But so how do you think, the culture has changed from back then to how it is now in terms of like the body, not just the bodybuilding scene, but the fitness scene? Because you were like, you're saying there was no coaches back then. And the people that were coaches were people that were like so obsessed with learning that, they learned from people that were pros. They learned from actual
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
actual reading books and knowledge. And so like that's how, and took courses, took all these different things, but you know, you had to know something to be a coach. You couldn't just like
You had to
say
have
I'm
some
a coach.
credentials,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
And the credentials were usually your credentials were usually like either like you did well at a provincial show or you were nationals or you were a pro, right? Like you
Yeah,
had to look the part. Someone would come up to you and be like, oh, that guy's big or whatever, or like, holy shit, that guy's benching 500 pounds, or like that was your credentials, right?
right, right,
And now it's like, literally like the people who are all coaches now, it's like these people back then would like, do these guys even work out? It's so like
right.
it's almost like the barrier to entry now is nothing to be a coach.
No, it is nothing. And there's actually these like what is it called? These things online that will teach people how to be coaches. And it, th- they don't need to know anything. They teach them like basically like a an app to use for dieting people. And that's it. And the person has no actual experience, no experience coaching people, no experience like actually sculpting their own body. But a lot of these online coaches, how they learn to do it.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean,
fucked
like
up.
even like so back then when I was competing, it was like, I got help from Desert one time. She had she won her pro card in women's
Right.
bodybuilding when it was like busy, it was popular in
Right,
Canada,
right.
and she
She
was the
went to the
only one.
Olympia.
Yeah, and she was the only one that year. So they only gave one pro card to one female a year and one male a year.
Yeah.
So when you had your pro card, you were the best in Canada. It was a big deal, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
competitions were way better, right? So, the handful of pros we had at Fitness Quest, those were like the Wayne Gretzky's in
Yeah.
Canada almost. Like that's how.
Right.
So that's why you would go ask them, like, yeah, this lady's going to the Olympia, and I'm going to go ask her. Obviously, she knows more than everyone, right? But now
Right.
it's almost like uh, you know, you put on a tank top and you're not like obese and you're a trainer now. And
Right.
if you go up and regurgitate something online, some study, you sit there and act like you're all knowledgeable, right? Like I see guys do it all the time. Guys are trying to build a living off it, but you see they're
Yeah.
always pivoting to different things or what's the next new topic or carnivore. So now I'm going to be carnivore. Like so they're
I
just trying to make
know.
money off it, right? It's just all it is
Yeah.
about money. They're just trying to make a living off money. But none of these people have any accomplishments, really
No.
accomplishments. Like, so you lost 20
No.
pounds, great, big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who
Like,
fucking
like,
cares?
you know,
Like, yeah.
so, there's so many coaches out there that like 20 years ago, like these people would never try to be coaches just because
No.
people would be like, who the fuck? Like, what the fuck have you done? It'd be like that pressure,
Yeah.
you would never do it. But now everyone's doing it. So everyone's a coach. Like everyone's a coach.
Oh, yeah, because back then it was like you had to have done that yourself. Also, you had to have helped other people, and so people would see like, "Oh, like because that's originally how I found you was
Yeah.
well, it was through Susan, but I saw Susan was training Jen, I think her name was. And I was like, "Oh, she looked
Oh,
pretty
that's
good at
right.
a show."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she looked pretty good at a show, and I was fed up with Sandy's like, "No, don't measure your food thing." So I was like, "Hey," I saw her in the bathroom and I was like, "Hey, will you coach me?" And she was like, sure." And then we just became buddies and like I hung out and and then I found out that basically you were coaching me through Susan, and
That
then you
that
and I
was like
became friends.
yeah, that was the standard, like, that was the standard even, like, pretty much later on with my, ex. Um,
Right.
she was pretending to train people, I was doing it, right? It was just like,
Right.
I she was
Yeah.
she was the face of it, right? So, yeah, so
Well,
I think what happened, like, Susan was training a lot of people, and
You
I
were
was
training
probably
them.
doing their diets and stuff, right? So
Right. Yeah, once I found that out, and also then, you and I started hanging out, and I was just
yeah,
like, "Well, I'm not asking her any advice anymore."
yeah,
Also, she was
yeah,
always eating, like, chocolate, like, bags of chocolate, and I'm like, "This is a bad role model. I don't
yeah,
you can't be
yeah,
eating chocolate-covered almonds all day and then,
yeah.
like, say tell me how
Well,
to
I think
diet."
well, I think I kinda got with her, I think the first time I competed, we were both getting help
Mhm.
from Desiree because that's how I think I
Oh,
kinda met her, maybe at the gym.
yeah. She looked great when she competed.
Yeah, yeah, well, the
You
year she
dieted
won the
her.
BC, I trained her.
Yeah. Right,
So the
yeah.
year we were doing the first year I kinda when I went to diet, I started my diet a year out, and I was like, that's when I was super heavy, 296, and I got help from Scott, and then after about 6 months, I was like, "This guy's not really telling me anything, why am I paying him?" kinda
Yeah.
deal, and then I got help from Desiree, I think he even came up to me, and she's like, "Oh, you wanna do a show? I can help you," kinda deal. So I started getting
Oh,
help
that's
from
cool.
her, and, I followed everything to a T, and then
Yeah.
there was some stuff I didn't and logically to me didn't make sense, but I did it
Right.
anyways. I just, like, whatever, I just listened, and then,
Yeah.
I did a show, and then, well, I actually did 2 shows that year, and, I think she had me eating, like, kinda pancakes or something at about 5 in the morning, which is,
Yeah.
like, way too late because your stomach it's gonna sit in your stomach, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's way too late. You could so I she did that a couple times and you know, and she knows what she's doing. She's obviously like she gets in shape and stuff, but uh I think that's kind of what we were trying that. Anyways, it didn't quite work. And
Mhm.
but I mean, I was still happy. I was lost 100 pounds kind of deal. But I was like, me
Right.
being so competitive, I was like, fuck, there's no way I'm losing these fucking guys. Anyway, so
Right.
I remember I kind of got mad, and then I started training myself.
Right.
I think I don't know if I was might have been training with her by then and Brian too, both of them. But anyways, there was no hard feelings kind of deal. And then Susan had competed that year, and then we started dating, and then I basically just started doing my own stuff. Right, like
Right.
the first thing was like after the week after the show, I was like, oh, I can pretend I'm doing another show, and I was like, okay, do everything up to that week, up to the show,
Right.
and then have a like pick out all day, the day basically the day before the show. Like,
Right.
and so I was eating pizza and I was like, I mean, I was just gorging on stuff, right? But
Yeah.
I was in such good shape. And then there was still about 12 hours till the next day kind of deal. So well, obviously
Yeah.
when you go to bed at like 10 o'clock, you're still kind of bloated and,
Yeah.
'cause you're drinking all the stuff. But by the morning, all the water out of the bad spots flushes out and then you're kind of really
Right.
big and full. If you're in shape, you
Yeah.
look good. So I did that and I woke up the next morning. I was like, why didn't I look like this on stage? What should have
Right?
did this.
Yeah.
So then basically that's what I started doing myself, helping Susan. Then we both did the BCs that year, and then we both won the overalls, which it was just weird. Like a couple kind of won the overalls, and then
Right.
that's when kind of people started asking me or her to train them, kind of deal. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I remember, after working with you for a while, and then I remember after you moved away, and I worked with a couple retarded I won't say their names, but a couple people that had, like, retarded protocols, that were dangerous and, like,
yeah,
you were like, "Why don't you just train yourself? Like,
yeah,
you know what you're doing," and that was, like, the
yeah,
best thing I could have heard because I was kind of insecure, and, but I'm like, "Yeah, I could do this," 'cause I was texting you, asking you questions, and you're like, "Just train yourself."
yeah.
Like,
Well,
you know
it's
what
not that it's not rocket science. It's
No.
very easy.
So
It's
it's
just
yeah,
all these people try to make it hard. And then
yeah,
when you find out it's really not that hard, right? So even when I train people, I don't like to train too many more because they just kind of annoy me. But
yeah,
um, when I give them a diet, it's very a plain diet, right? Like it's this much
mhm,
rice, this much beef. Here you can have these kind of condiments. If you want diet pop, I don't care, go drink diet pop. If you want like the sugar free drinks, like whatever, right?
yeah,
And they're kind of like they look at it and they're like, it's kinda basic. I'm like, "Yeah, you're dieting."
yeah,
And,
that's what it
because
is, yeah,
everyone wants all these, like, "Oh, I want sugar-free vanilla tapioca pudding with, like, some bananas," and, like so
yeah,
I'm like it's like a ordeal, like, it's like every day, like, it's like you gotta if you're not working, sitting around all day, maybe you can make these gourmet meals,
right.
but
Oh
if you're
my
an
god, I
actual
know.
person that has something to do, you want like 5 items on your grocery list and that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
And make it easy. That's what I do, is I just cook twice a week. I'll, like, cook my beef and chicken and, like, carbs, and then I'll put them in containers, and then it's, like, in the fridge, because I hate
yeah,
thinking about what to cook.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
but that's the thing, is that actually, that's what I was gonna ask you, is, like, because I've noticed over the last few years, I don't know if it's just that I'm more aware of it now, but I didn't like, before, in my experience, was that people that went to a coach because they wanted to learn. They wanted to get better. Like, every time that's what I wanted. I wanted to, like, learn. When I met you, I was just, like, so excited about learning about
Hmm.
bodybuilding. I was, and sounds like you were too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
um wanting to put in the work. But lately I find that I get people coming to me that they want more like a cheerleader than they want a coach, and I don't know if that's, like, a new thing or not.
Yeah, so
What do you
that's
think?
probably so the first thing why people usually don't like to work with me is because my diets and stuff are very basic. It's almost like I could have did this myself. That's what they're thinking always, right?
Yeah,
But the magic is not in the diet or the protocol or whatever. The magic's in knowing when to do this, knowing when to do that,
right.
knowing when to
Yeah,
cut
exactly.
cardio, knowing that's the magic, right? So
Yeah.
anyone can do a diet and whatever, but and so that's the first reason why they don't like using me. Another reason is they want someone to babysit them and, like you said, cheerlead
Yes.
them, right? I don't got time for that. Like, if basically if you're not eating your meals or eating garbage or not working, I don't really care. You're the one that's got to
Yeah.
go on stage. So like, I don't give a shit. So I probably come off a lot of times like, I don't care. Here, give me the money. I'll tell you what to do. And it's like, I remember when I first started training Danielle, I was like, I would give her one word answers. I would say,
Right.
"Hey, yeah, be at the gym this day." I'd look at her, I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, add another 20 minutes cardio, walk away." Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even say a conversation with her. That's just how I was, right?
Right.
Like, it's like
Yeah.
it was almost probably like coming off like I'm she always felt she was bothering me, right? Because I was like, you
Right.
know, I was just so standoffish kind of deal. But I don't have time for that, right? Like that takes energy, and if you have to, a lot of times I guess motivate them sometimes, but I found if I have to motivate the person at all, they usually won't follow the diet or can't handle or
Yeah.
can't train and they're gonna drop out. That's the right?
Right.
That's
Right.
so
Well,
and anyone I didn't have. Yeah, go
there's
ahead.
a difference between, like, reassuring someone once in a while, and, like, because I think some people need that, like, you reassuring that they're doing well, because sometimes your mind can play tricks on you. That's different than having, like,
I think
people
that's more at
complain.
the end though, right?
Yeah, yeah, but with the people complaining nonstop that they can't even, like, finish their food or go to the gym without having, like, a fucking cheerleader being like, "You can do it." Those
Yeah.
people I fucking can't stand.
Yeah. So yeah,
Like,
yeah, and a lot of people want that, right? So that's not me. So that's
but is that a
you
new
know,
thing, or is that something that's been going on for a long time?
I think it is a new thing because I trained,
Yeah,
like I said, right after I won the BCs, everyone
yeah,
thought I had some secret. Because I remember
right,
guys said, "Oh, you were taking this, were you taking this?" And I was like, "No, what? I don't got money for growth hormone. How the fuck would I,
right,
take that?" And these guys were taking it. But anyways, it was like they thought I had some secret. So all these people come to me, and it was just
right.
like,
Just
very
work
basic stuff.
hard.
Worked hard, but I don't remember them. Like I remember right away. I had a natural guy. He went in the BCs because there was no tested at that time.
Yeah,
And I remember he won his class, but he was a taller guy, but he didn't have the thickness, but he was
yeah.
ripped as the heavyweight and stuff, and he almost won the overall. And there was a lot of good guys, and this was a natural
Oh,
guy
wow.
that I was helping. And I don't remember him ever like I don't remember anyone ever
No one
really complaining
complained.
back then.
Yeah,
No,
I don't remember I never had clients complain until the last couple of years, and for, like, a little while there, I thought, "Maybe I need to go with the flow, and maybe these people, like, need help or something." I don't know. I tried, but then I found out the more I tried to help these people, not only did it, like, suck the living life out of me and made me
yeah,
wanna, like, kill myself, but it also didn't help them, because then they
yeah.
just, like, became more reliant, and they wanted more and more and more, and it's like, and they just got worse, and it's like, grow up, just act like an adult. Like, if you don't wanna do it, don't do it. I
But
don't or
I think back then too, you got the people that anyone that actually wanted to do it or try it were
Yeah.
already like super serious. So when I
Right. Right.
went to do like I was super serious in the weightlifting. I don't even think I ever wanted to really compete. I did the first time just to kind of do it, but I didn't like the competing. I liked the lifting, the working out. That was the
Right,
fun
right.
to me, right? I just competed because that was kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Like I want to get lean now, see what I look like. So I might as well just go compete kind of deal, you know?
Oh yeah, I loved I fell in love with the process of it. I love the process of it. That's I think why I continued competing for so long until I realized, you know what? I can still live this way without doing a show. And then I'm like, and I don't have to do all of the other things that are unhealthy to me and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like so back then I like everyone wanted to, if you were interested, you were kind of serious. Now it's such a like I don't know, was 10 years ago or kind of when the CPA took over, that's when
Yeah,
kind of Instagram and everything was kind of hitting at the same
yeah,
time. And then it became, then everyone wanted to compete. And now like
right.
90% of them probably shouldn't compete because
They
all they want to
shouldn't
do
compete
is,
or
right.
yeah, or they don't even want to. Like some people come to me and they were like, "I really want to do this competition." And it'll be for some like I had this person who they were working really hard, they were doing pretty good. I'm like, "You know what? I think they could compete." But then as soon as like the pressure of competing came on, they completely fell apart and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like you're going to have to do the work. It's
Yeah.
very fucking simple.
Yeah.
I can't
I
make
think when
you do it.
I think when the social media came out, like, and the like kind of when the CPA took over, I don't know what that was, like 218, 219, or whenever kind of social media got busy, everyone wanted to compete because that was, they kind of didn't figure out yet you could just post pictures of yourself in the gym and get popular. You still had to
Right.
compete yet. It took a couple of years to people to figure that out. So then
I know.
everyone wanted to compete at first. So when the CPA first took over, first couple of years, there was tons of everyone was competing and they
Right.
weren't they weren't half as good as they were 20 years ago, but everyone was competing and
Yeah.
there's all these classes now and everyone's a competitor because it's a class for everyone. Like it's, like
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Legs now or something, right? Like
now there's like I know there's like a new bikini class I was heard about or something like what's
yeah,
that
it's
new
fit
one?
model. So it's fit model now and that's like I don't know what that
What the
is. I think it's kind of below bikini. So I'm not sure like bikini if
like
you're in
is it
bikini
beach
shape, you're too
bikini?
ripped. I don't know. I'm still understanding. I put on
I
a
don't
show
get
and I have to like, I don't know. I can't like I don't know. I think it's just girl puts on a bathing suit pretty much and tans. And just if you're
okay.
not fat, you can kind of do it, right? But
Or
yeah, it's weird.
people using the shows as like a that are still super fat that are like, but I lost 300 pounds. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
great for you, but like why are you doing
yeah.
a bodybuilding show?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of times once in a while you have people that lost weight. And I mean, I could see that that I don't that doesn't even bother me. I see that's kind of good. They've lost a bunch of weight and they kind of get up there, do their thing. But I mean, they probably stick to their diet and everything and train harder than the people
Oh
that
yeah.
actually win, right? But it's because they're kind of on a different journey. But like, there's still lots of people that compete that 20 years ago would never dare step on stage, kind of
No.
deal. Even
No.
the bodybuilding scene is like the quality has gone way 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 down, and less guys too, right? Maybe just because there's less numbers, but like class has gone up, I guess. But you know, it's just it's a weird like now
It's weird.
for a couple of years since CPA started, so they everyone competed because they want to get notoriety kind of deal. And then they figured out over the last couple of years now, a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of people that were competing aren't
Right.
competing now. And they're more concerned about like doing stuff on Instagram, doing videos. And like, that's kind of the new cool thing now. Cause I don't have to compete and kind of figure out like, oh shit, I'm not actually that good, or I'm not the best guy, or whatever. Right. So now
Right.
there's always a risk to competing, right? When you're the big guy in the gym or something like that, you look great. Well, once you get him up on stage, you see like, okay, like the guy's got no legs or something, he's all wonky or
Right.
right. And then everything you kind of like
Right.
you get found out. So now you're not that great. So I think people were excited to compete and then they kind of competed and saw themselves on stage or next to other people like, yeah, I don't look that good. And now
Right.
I look good in the gym though, so now I don't have to compete. Why compete? I'll just go in the gym. And so everyone's like, the cool thing now is just to like not compete, but take pictures of yourself and get videos done and just put it on Instagram. That's how you get famous. And that's the likes and whatever. That's their,
It's a
fuel now.
it's weird because competing was never that to me. Competing was just like what I loved about competing was like a I loved the challenge of it. I loved how disciplined you had to be, and I loved it was like an opportunity to be better each time. Like that was what was like, so exciting to me, and like and working with different people and learning and stuff. I don't know. I didn't really care if I won or lost. I was just like if I was better than the time before, I was happy. it was it,
So I didn't care about the competing, but I did not like losing.
okay. well,
I think because when I was competed, like a lot of those guys, like I knew the guys who I was competing against, way like the year ahead of time, right?
Oh,
So I knew
okay.
like these guys in this gym, these guys out in Poco, and this guy over here. No, they look pretty good, and we're all going to be in the same
Right.
class. So everyone's like, there's no social media, so you'd have to like see the guy to see how he looks, kind
Right.
of deal. And then
Right.
like this guy would say like, hey, this guy's shit talking you, and like so there were I knew the guys, right? We were all
Right.
talking shit, and I was a fat mess. I'm like, oh, the Kirk guy, he's never going to be in shape. He's a fat mess. Look at him, kind of deal. Like, so I was, which is good, right? Because I used that for fuel. I'm like, I thought everything was a fucking fight all the time or war. That's how I took the contest, right? Like,
Right.
there's no, that's fucking asshole's not going to beat me. Fuck him, kind of deal, and and
The
and kind of knew the guys, but you were never friends with them because they were going to be your competition, right?
So what made you decide to stop competing?
Just too old. Can't. I mean, you can't like the last time I competed, I got fourth in light heavyweight class, and I mean, I was in such good shape. I was probably in shape at 213,
Mhm.
and I was that the day before the show, and I didn't have anything to lose, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to make light heavyweight, and I had to drop
Yeah.
15 more pounds. So like I mean, like researched all this stuff, how to like wrestlers lose weight, how to suck all this water out and everything. So I was like, I lost 15 pounds by 12 o'clock weigh-ins the next day. In about
Oh,
12
wow.
hours, I lost 15 pounds, and didn't have anything to lose even before that. So I was
Right.
not feeling good. Uh, but I did stuff like I was filling up the bathtub like super hot water and up
Mhm.
to the top. And then I read a thing where if you lay down in it for like a minute, it's just going to make you sweat like ridiculously, and you get out, you
Oh.
wipe yourself off and weigh yourself. So, but so I did that, and I think I made it so hot I can only stay in the water for 45 seconds at a time,
Oh,
and
wow.
then I would get out and I would towel off, and then I would like weigh myself right then. I'd be like half a pound down just from that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, but you couldn't do it. You had to wait about a half hour, 45 minutes to do it. You couldn't keep doing it. So I did that all day, and like for about 8 hours or 9 hours, and then I
Oh,
kept
wow.
every time it was about half a pound, half a pound, half a pound, and then I remember like if I had to pee at all, I would pee into a cup and see how much it was, and then
Yeah.
I would drink half of whatever was in the cup. So then I knew my water
Okay.
was always going down, right? But so you have to
Right.
piss, like, kind of take a look. Oh, I'm going to drink half of this. So that's what I did. And
Right.
then the next day I was down to one that just made 198, and I was so dehydrated, and I couldn't even think half straight. I remember walking to the weigh-in room right when it started at 12 in Laval, and everyone's sitting on chairs and stuff, and they have a scale at the front. Everyone's waiting for them to come in. So then they come in, they're standing at the front, and then people
Yeah.
start getting up. I walked in that time. I was so delirious. I just walked through everyone right through the middle, pushed everyone aside, and went right up to the scale first, and had
Oh,
on some
wow.
sweats. And I just
Mhm.
took off my pants, and I was standing there naked. I was so out of it. I didn't even care about putting my trunks on. I was so like out of it.
Right.
So then the guy was just like, "Oh, okay," and they waved me right then. And then I just put my clothes back on, turned around, and I think I like had 2 liter and a half bottles of water, and I met her. And probably over the next 5 minutes, I guzzled both of those, and then got super
Yeah.
cold, right? So, but anyways,
Yeah.
I was
Right.
trying to fill back up, right? But so
Yeah. So it just wasn't a pleasant experience.
yeah, no, no, I was in shape, but I it was uh it was my last show, and I just wanted to make sure I kind of got in shape, and
Right.
I think, and then the last probably 5 years too, I got injured a few times, like my
Mhm.
cane corso ran into my knee.
Okay.
Uh, Threw something in the backyard. He came flying back and smacked my knee, kind of deal. Had to get surgery on that. Then I had to get a biceps surgery. Then I got a shoulder, and then I got a pec.
Oh, right.
Right,
Yeah.
kind of all off the other. So you can't compete at that same level. Like the drive was still
Yeah.
there, but I couldn't do it, right. So I still
Right.
lift like I was serious, but you could never step on stage again. You can't do the same thing. And I wasn't
Mhm.
willing to you know waste a bunch of money on drug. Like I just wasn't, those guys
Yeah.
doing the shows like are spending lots of cash, right? So
Oh, yeah, they're so expensive. Well, that's another thing I realized. I remember one day I was training someone and, you know, I was training someone and he was interested in, like, female bodybuilding and stuff like that, and he was, like, asking me all these questions, and questions came up about how, like, unhealthy it was, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not the healthiest," and then he questions about, like he's like, "Do you make any money?" And I was like, "No." It costs a lot of money, but and then he just was like, "Well, why do you do it?" And it was so strange. It was like right at that moment, something clicked in my head, and I'm like, I have no idea. And that's when I decided I was quitting because I was like a whole bunch of other things had happened up until then. Like I got really sick and I really realized beforehand I wasn't gonna there's no way to make money in it unless I was like
Mhm.
doing OnlyFans. And I wasn't
Yeah,
willing to do that.
yeah, yeah,
Um and uh and it's just so unhealthy like doing it all the time, right? So I was like I gotta I wanted to get smaller, and so I made the decision to stop, and I just, like, downsized, and I haven't missed it for, like, a day. Uh, I'm glad I did it, but,
yeah,
it was a good experience, doing it through all that time, but it's so hard on the body to do it for too
yeah,
long.
yeah. I think if when you're in the middle of it, when you're serious, you just don't think of you like the issues you're gonna have, like, from
No.
lifting heavier later, whatever later on, right? You just like,
Right.
that never crossed my mind. Like, it never crossed
No,
my
me
mind ever.
neither.
I remember squatting like 7.5 plates on the Smith machine like every week when I was doing them for
Right,
8 or
right,
12 reps with those guys at the gym. And I didn't think later on, like my back's not too bad, but I mean, like it's probably done some damage
right.
and stuff.
Yeah,
And just all that stuff. It's or the dieting or the water loss at the end. None of it's really that healthy. But you don't think
or the
about it.
drugs.
Yeah, or you don't think about it, right?
No,
Yeah,
well, during the time, I didn't think about it, that's the thing, is, like, I
yeah,
never once thought about it. I mean, I would be like I never thought about it. So and then afterwards, you kind of it catches up to you and you get some consequences and you're like, "Okay." And then after time of not competing, I look back and there was a period of time that I was like, "Man, that was really stupid that I did all that stuff." But, in the moment, I thought it was such a great idea. So
well, yeah, I mean,
y
you don't really care, right? That's like
no.
if I think especially bodybuilding, maybe all sports, if you wanna be really good, you have to be completely selfish and almost like, you know, crazy to a point, right? Like, if especially
Right,
for
oh, yeah.
bodybuilding, I know I think when I first moved out there, when I was all like, like beyond serious there after my first contest, I think like I didn't see like I had family out in Regina here that, came through or once in a while, but I don't think I saw or really talked on the phone to my family for like 3 years or something, or like not very
Right,
much.
yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't be bothered to talk on the phone. No, I'm too busy. Like, I no, gotta go
right,
gym, can't talk to you kind of deal,
right,
or just like that. So,
yeah.
crazy. And I think the girl I was dating at the time, I think like I never even went out once with her. I think like we'd go out to eat once in a blue moon, but that was like so like must have been completely boring for her because you maybe go out and eat and then
Right.
I'd like all I cared about was getting some food in. No, I gotta be in bed by, 9 o'clock, right? Like,
Right, right.
I remember even being so like like, not competitive, but like, obsessed with,
Strict?
bodybuilding. I remember like, the the girlfriend at the time wanted to have sex with me, and I was like, "I know, I can't. I got legs tomorrow morning." Like how who does that? Right? Yeah,
That's really
like,
funny.
that was my logic, right? Like, who does that? Like, that no, I gotta do legs. What kind of that seems like someone out of a movie, right? Like, just completely fucking retarded, you know?
Is it gonna, like, ruin your leg workout?
I don't know. That's just I don't know what it but,
You're
or I
you're
just
probably just so tired.
no, no, I wasn't because I was working at that point, I was working at bars twice a week, making good money, so
Okay.
yeah, I didn't like, that's not working, I didn't work, so I was making
Okay.
good money at the bar, and then I would sit around, like, I have my days to work out, like, that's what I would do,
Okay.
right? I lived the life of a pro bodybuilder, but I wasn't a pro
Right.
bodybuilder pretty much, right?
And you didn't even wanna have sex with your girlfriend,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
funny.
But you get so obsessed, you do stupid stuff, like, I remember that
Yeah.
don't make sense later on, like, I was getting pretty strong at some points, and I remember, like, one of my lifts I was always excited to do was chest, right? I had a strong chest, I was
Right.
like and I loved going into an incline, and I could always do, like, 4 plates aside, like 405, and I could do for always, like, 12 reps, like,
Right.
plus or minus 1 or 2 kinda deal. So I would go in there. I remember going to the gym, like and this happened multiple times, going to the gym, warming up, working up to 4 plates, do 4 plates. I did it 10 times or like,
Yeah.
maybe 8 times or something like that. I would have a temper tantrum and be like, "Oh my god, I must have not ate enough food." So I would throw all the weights away and leave the gym all pissed off, go straight to McDonald's and try to just pound a bunch of food and be like, go back 2 hours later and try it
Yeah.
again because I didn't have enough food, which doesn't make how does that doesn't make sense, right? But that's you're so like You're
You
so
get so
stupid. You
weird.
just yeah. But I did that multiple times. Stuff
I
like that.
remember one time you were at, you went to that World Gym, and you were there for, like, 5 seconds. I was upstairs 'cause I was working the front desk at that time. I was working the front
On
desk, but I think
Denman.
no, not the Denman one, the one in Poco,
Oh, yeah,
the
Oh
Poco
yeah,
gym.
Polka Athletic
Yeah,
Club.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes, but I thought then it turned into World Gym, and this had so many
that was
names.
yeah. No, so when Carlos had it in Polka Athletic Club, right?
Yeah,
He had it there. Him and his cousin or something had that gym. It's called Polka Athletic Club.
yeah.
And then there was a shooting there, drive-by shooting
Oh, there's been
happened.
lots of shootings
Yeah,
there.
so
Yeah.
then I remember there was a drive-by shooting, and then they picked up the gym and moved it over by the mutant kind of headquarters, those bays there,
Yes,
where the
that's what I'm
PVL.
talking about, that gym,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there was in Poco before that, and then he moved over there, and so they had the
Okay.
Polka Athletic Club there for a few years, and then they ended up selling it to one of the guys that had one of the gyms closer in Vancouver, and they
That
turned
was
it
it
into
World Gym.
World, I think. Yeah.
So, the reason that I went ended up going to that gym is because just down yeah, where the mutant thing is where all those little industrial buildings
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
like, if you literally go down that road, at the end of the road, there's a big roofing company, and I was working at my dad owns that roofing company. I was working as a receptionist there, and at my lunch breaks, I would, like, walk to the gym, and that's when I started working out at that gym, and I'd go to that gym, and then I hated working at the roofing company because, like, working for my dad and all this stuff, wasn't working out, and so I, quit that and I started working at the gym, and he was not very happy about that, but, that's another story, but
Yeah,
anyways,
because of that
and
gym, yeah.
yeah, well, but there's always like, that gym has changed ownership so many times, like, right now it's West Coast Iron, it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, but there's been drug shootings all like, every year there's some kinda shooting there.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
that's
mean, I remember
bodybuilding.
yeah, I mean, but there was like that at all the gyms. All the gyms I was
Yeah,
at, there was
yeah.
like, you had tons of different people coming in those gyms, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah, it was always crazy people. There's, like, drug dealers, pimps, everyone.
someone you saw the night before on, TV getting arrested or something, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a bunch of misfits went to those gyms, but they were awesome. Yeah,
yeah, that was
but
a good
my
gym.
point is, like, I remember you going to that gym one day, and you were leaving after being there for 5 minutes, and I asked you where you were going, and you're like, "I need to go get another meal, and I'll come back." I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay."
I did that quite often. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I did that quite often, and it was like a temper tantrum. And I would be so mad, and I'd be like swearing, thinking to myself, "Fuck! Last night I didn't eat enough food. God damn! I was so
Right.
mad at myself." Like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like healthy food. It's like, I should have had 5 more pizza pops or something. Like, that was the answer.
That was the answer. I used to beat myself up about stupid things that I obsess over it, but it was normally, like, about, "Oh, I could have done another set at that time, like, I should have pushed myself harder," or, it's just really stupid things, like, really minor details, like, I don't know, something like, "I shouldn't have put mustard on my chicken," like, it's just dumb shit, like
Oh, you mean because you felt like the mustard was cheating, kinda.
Yeah, it was like I would obsess over the dumbest things all the time, and then and now I'm like, I'll think back, I'm like, "That was really stupid and a waste of time," and probably stressing about it made me, make less progress because of the cortisol.
Yeah, well, I found out too, like, the first time I got help and stuff with dieting, like with Desert, it was fairly strict, and it was probably too little calories for me and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I found out that, like, even when coaching people and myself, the more muscle I put on, the more looser my diet had to be. Like, I got
Mm.
but the last time I competed, I think every week I had my diet. I don't think my calories probably went below 3,500 all week, and then I still on Fridays, half of Fridays, all day Saturday, I would have a cheat day and a half,
Oh,
and I still
wow.
would lose 2 pounds every week, and then,
Wow.
even with Danny, she's her last show, I think, she had to she was, like, almost twice a week, we had to, like, give her, like,
Oh,
burgers and
wow.
fries and stuff because she was just getting too lean, right? So we had to I
Right.
think the harder you work out and the harder muscle and the more muscle you have, I think you have to give yourself more of those, like, cheat days, whatever, you know?
Yeah. It definitely depends, and also when you're really lean, your body can burn a lot more,
Yeah.
like, opposed later on the opposed to at the beginning of the diet. Like, if you're fat, you're not gonna be able to burn through a big cheat meal as much as if you are, like, shredded,
And a lot of
right?
people, when they start diets too, they almost start going too much off the gut. Yeah, you lose weight off the beginning, but you've been doing so much that it's like you don't have much where to go, right? Like I always tell people, I use the same analogy all the time. I always tell dieting is like a volume, right? And you want to turn it up to one, and you just want to lose a bit. And when that stops, then you turn it up to two, right? And then I keep doing
Yeah,
that. Whereas a lot of people go right to five, and yeah, you
yeah.
lost like 5 pounds, but
Then they have nowhere to
at some
go.
you have nowhere to go, right? What are you gonna like?
Right,
At some point, you're at the end. You got nothing to do, so you kind of like you always want to start off easier because you can always add more and or cut more, right? And or if you're doing
right.
cardio, you always want to start at the least amount and work your way
Yeah.
up. Like, yeah, you can start at a half hour, but if you lose weight on 10 minutes, why wouldn't you start at 10?
Right. Yeah. People do that all the time. They go way too extreme or they go way too hard and then they end up blowing it at, for a few days because
Yeah.
they can't,
Yeah.
keep going with it. Yeah, you need to gradually increase it for sure. And so what are some of the trends right now that you see in the fitness industry that are retarded? Like just retarded.
Oh, well, I mean, the drug use is out of control. Like
Right.
none of these
Yeah.
people come off drugs, right? Like, and
Yeah,
so
and
you
they're on so many drugs. Oh,
yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask you about though. I meant to ask you earlier, I got distracted. So when So you know how a couple years ago there was all of the scandal going on with all those women dying from the crazy drug protocols, right? From those
yeah,
coaches. Um,
yeah.
Now, do you think that's something that's always been happening in the fitness industry, and it's just like because of social media, people know
No,
about
no,
it, or is it
no.
just
I think it's
a new
getting more
thing?
because you got like there's different compounds people are using. I had DNP, right? Like it's
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
that's the worst.
I think it's the active ingredient that like makes you burn like your body. It basically heats your body up like an oven inside,
It
cooks you from the
makes your
inside.
inside burn,
Yeah,
like melt.
yeah,
Yeah.
it cooks you from the inside, basically, right? And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, that ingredient is like in bug spray. That's the
Oh,
active ingredient. And so
okay.
the actual, yeah, I think for some reasons I could be wrong, but and I think the actual dose that actually makes it work is very close to the dose that's lethal. So
Oh,
it's like when you take the right amount for it to work, where you actually start noticing, it's like you're very
yeah.
close to being lethal, like dead, right? So
Oh my god.
I mean that's just Dave Palumbo. If you ever listen to him, he's like you should never
Yeah.
touch that stuff. He says it
No.
for years, right? And like just me hearing that, I would never take that stuff and never ever tell anyone to take that stuff. Like that's
Never,
crazy,
never.
right? Right.
No.
So I had people that aren't even competitors that are just like this girl's going on a vacation with her husband in 6 months, and he's been kind of helping her out and stuff like that because he was whatever, a little bit into fitness, but no clue what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Right.
You
The
know,
boyfriend.
I
My
asked her,
boyfriend knows what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
doing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he has
All
no
those
clue, right?
people.
So then
Right.
he's like, I said, oh, like I didn't even know she was taking anything, and they kind of said, oh, she's taking this. I got her taking this right now, and I was kind of like, what? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, she's taking DNP, this and that. I'm like,
Oh my
I
god.
go, you can't. I said, you can't be taking that. I said, you're going to kill someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I scared her or not, but he just looked like there was no clue, like they didn't know that stuff could kill you. Like did had no clue. Because the husband
Oh
looked
my
all
god.
like, and so you have people like
Yeah.
that are taking stuff
Retarded.
that because
Yeah.
you get guys that don't know what they're doing, giving advice to other guys and then giving out other guys. Like everyone's an expert now, right? Everyone's an expert.
Well, a couple years ago, I got kicked out of Genesis, and I think the real reason I got kicked out was because there was a guy there. Now, this guy, I knew him. I worked out with him a few times. I thought he was a nice guy. Had a great physique. He didn't compete, but I later found out he was selling DNP. Is that what
Yeah,
DMT? What
DMP. Yeah.
DNP. He was selling that, and he was pushing it on like everyone. But one day he says it to I didn't know that he was doing that. But one day he says to me, "Hey, you should try this." And I'm like, "You're retarded." I thought he was joking. And then and he's like, "No, like you really should try it." And I'm like, do you know how dangerous this is? And I started having an argument with him. I'm like, this is so super dangerous. You're going to kill people. Like I listed off all these things and he's like, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. And I'm like, no, you can't agree to disagree on this. Like it will literally kill people. It's a very dangerous drug. And like every single person I had asked that knew what they were doing, like everyone agreed. It wasn't like a subjective matter, right? And so he wouldn't stop doing it. And I was getting nowhere with him. He was just
And
like,
the thing is, people probably go to him, females
yeah,
especially, because
because he looks good.
they are losing weight though, but they don't
Yeah,
know that what they're taking and DNP can kill them,
yeah.
right? Like,
And he's not saying that. He's just like, oh, we'll just make you feel warmer. I'm like, because your insides are melting. Like it's literally and so anyways, and then I went to the manager and the owner of the gym, manager slash owner, and I told her what was going on, and she was just like, she didn't care, but they were friends, and so I got kicked out of the gym because I had a problem with that, but like apparently they didn't because they were making money. So yeah, there's a lot of idiots out there doing shit like that. But I mean, what about these stupid these stupid drug protocols that like those coaches that were killing people
was that a lot of diuretics? Or?
lots of diuretics for sure, lots of diuretics, really ridiculously high fat burners like Cytomel,
Oh yeah,
clenbuterol,
yeah.
like really really high, but the diuretics were ridiculous, and anyone with any common sense would know that that could kill someone. So what I don't understand is like why these coaches would even like suggest that.
Well, it's about a lot of it's about money. So it's like if you're a coach, a lot because everyone thinks there's a magic pill, right? Everyone still like does
Right.
now. Even the pro guys, everyone thinks there's a magic pill. They see some guy get bigger now. Oh, he's got the magic. So that's why you see all these guys jump from trainer to trainer all the time, right? So, um, a lot of people that when I help them, another reason why they don't like coming to me is because I'll tell them I would advise you maybe to kind of do this and that, like, and they look at it and go, "That's it," and I
Right.
go, "Yeah," you know, and I'm thinking in my head, I was training with people in the Miss Olympia and other like really good pros, and
Right.
that's more than them. Or
Right.
sorry,
Right.
like, and you're saying that's not enough, and I know what they were taking, right?
Right.
Which was very little, and they got that big, and you're like thinking you need to be taking this. So I just like I'm like, yeah, that's all I would advise you to take. And then they don't
Yeah.
like that answer. They don't like that answer, so they go to the next person, and they just want to be reaffirmed by someone telling them to take more. So then this guy will be like,
Oh.
and they have no clue. They've never done anything. They haven't one. Most of them would have one shit, right? And oh yeah, take this and yeah, take this and this and they're taking 3 times probably what they should,
Yeah.
and and then they're all the guy who's telling them that is also selling them stuff, right? So
Yes.
yeah,
That's the thing.
so
Yeah, it's always like the drug dealer is the one that's
right,
suggesting it.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. So you got like it's just the effect is it's a cascading effect all the time. Like I hear, you know, I've heard conversations of girls different before, and I've been in different gyms, and they don't even look like bikini competitors,
Mhm.
and they've got a coach, and I'm hearing he's telling them to take testosterone and
Oh,
insulin.
yeah. Yeah. I've heard of bikini girls taking testosterone and insulin.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, and
Well,
these are people that have never competed before,
and
and probably never will hit the stage.
these are also very well-known coaches.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
So
what the fuck?
you
Yeah.
know, it, it's I've you know since being kind of in the industry, I know different people that pro level girls and females and stuff
Yeah.
like that to compete, and they've told me some of the stuff they're taking, and this was like
Mhm.
not just now. I'm talking like 15 years ago. These girls, there was girls that were taking Tren, right?
Right.
And so you think they're only
That's
taking
crazy.
and so and it's only got way worse now that like
Yeah.
the thing that not just like the female bodybuilders, but like everyone's like gone from,
Yeah.
you know, 2% up to like 150%. Like it's
Right.
outrageous. Like stuff you would never ever like you would say, oh, if you heard a guy was taking that, you'd be like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's a figure girl.
Yeah. Or like 120-pound like bikini girl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just that everyone thinks there's a magic pill now, and like, everyone's looking for now everyone's on peptides, right? Everyone's,
Oh yeah, everyone loves the
every person's
peptides.
taking peptides now, right? Which I'm, they work, you know,
Yeah.
um, but like in another example, so someone came to me probably 5 years ago when like those not peptides, but those
SARMs?
SARMs were
The
coming out, right?
SARMs?
Or
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was SARMs, but it was someone that I don't know if it was out yet, but you could kind of get it. Anyways, he's like, "Oh, I was getting ready for a show. Like, I'm taking this." I was like, "I don't even know what the hell that is." Like, am
Right.
I way out? He's like, "I had to go look it up." And, I did some research, and it's like they were doing, tests on lab rats or mouse or something,
Yeah.
and they had to stop the trials because every, like, mouse was getting cancer. So
Oh
they just, like,
shit.
stopped the trials. So I went back to the guy, I go, "Do you know this is, like, causes cancer? Are you out of your fucking mind?" He's like, "Yeah, but, it helps burn fat or something." I was like, You're fucking crazy."
Well,
So
that's
that's the
worth it.
mentality of people.
Yeah. People are retarded. But no, but like the thing about the those the coaches that were doing the diuretic protocols that were literally killing people. I think like 6 women died within the matter of like a 4-year period that we know of because they were also training people worldwide. But like it didn't even help them look better. Like they looked worse from taking all the diuretics. Like they looked like shit from the diuretics and then they ended up dying.
Yeah.
And it's like it
But
I
that's what happens, right? People, like, they look like shit, they're not in shape, and then they think, "Okay, I'm gonna take a diuretic, it's gonna make me look good." No, it actually
yeah, I mean
makes you look worse because it
way
pulls the
worse.
water
Yeah.
out, and then your fat's
Yeah.
more visible, right?
Right, right. Yeah. But what I don't understand.
Diuretics only seem to work like the thing with diuretics is, like, you should only take them if you have an issue before the show. All of a sudden, the night before, you get bloated or whatever it is, right? You're holding
Yeah.
water, and you just do a little bit. The people take them when they're not in shape with it, which is bad, right? But the other thing with diuretics too, they never work the same every time, for one, and two,
No.
they never, like, 10% of the, like, what, maybe it's not even 10, maybe 5% of the time they only work good. You actually only look good on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most times
I
when
know.
guys take diuretics, they're like, I look like I don't look good, right? Like, you get flat kind of deal
Yeah.
or whatever. Even if you
Ev
hear most of the pros talking, some of them, they're like, "Oh, the best I ever looked was when I didn't take any diuretics." Well, yeah, if you're in
Yeah.
shape.
Every time I took a diuretic, I had a either horrible experience. Like one time I ended up I on stage, I felt so sick and I had to run off stage afterwards and I was throwing up all like I was so sick from the diuretic. Another time I felt like I was gonna die. I almost passed out and I'm like and then and both those times I felt like no, I looked worse than I did before I took diuretics, so it was ridiculous, but what I don't understand is, like, can you imagine if you had a client that died from taking your protocol? Not just 1 client, but 4 let's say 4 clients. How would you look in the mirror, and how would you continue doing what you're doing? Like, I don't understand like, audacity of these people. They're still coaching. They're still doing these dangerous things. Like, how the are they sociopaths? Like, how do they function in the world that they know that
Well,
they've done these things?
I think it's a money thing, right? I think, like, they're gonna push. They don't care about your health. They want to see, like, if you get this much bigger in the next short period of time or get this much leaner. They don't really care because all they're
They don't
thinking
care if
is
they
for
kill
someone
people, though?
else. Well, no, I don't know, but like if they're doing crazy stuff, like if they're a
Yeah,
lot of these guys are prescribing DNP and stuff, like that's crazy, right? So I don't know. Do
yeah.
they care? I don't know, right?
No, I
Like,
guess not, yeah. But is it like actual
but it's money to them, right? So if they do get someone who has never been in shape, all of a sudden they're in shape, they're going to get a bunch of clients and money.
right.
You know?
Oh oh, yeah, every time I see someone, like one of those coaches post, like, a before and after that's crazy with a short amount of time, I just want I think in my head, I bet that person's gonna die, or I wonder if they're still alive, because
Yeah,
for a while there was, like there was that one coach that, we both know of, but I'm not gonna say their name, that they have crazy, like, before and
yeah, yeah,
afters
yeah,
on their page, right?
yeah,
Like, everyone looks amazingly shredded, but
yeah.
for a while there, they had all these great transformations, and then all those people literally died, and it's like and they're still fucking working, and they're still doing the same shit, and
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, I don't
Because
understand.
people, that goes in, if, like I said before, right? When you're in the middle of being a competitor, you're
Yeah.
very blind, and you have to be, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you might hear a couple people die and then be like, whatever.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to happen to
Their
me. Like
fault.
that, right? It's not going to,
Yeah,
or it's not going to happen to me, right? So that's
right,
why,
that's
if
true.
you've got some results, they're going to go. That's why people keep going back to them, right? Like,
Right, that makes sense. That is a really fucked up thing, I guess, is like because when you're inside doing competing, you don't really care about your health. You don't really care about anything except for, getting better. And you'll do stupid things like
yeah.
work with
I mean,
people
the
that
last time
might
I
kill you.
competed, when I got super lean, I remember I was so lean, I couldn't even walk around the house and my socks or bare feet because my feet hurt so much. The fat were gone. And so I had to
Oh,
actually limp around the house in running shoes. Like that's, and I remember telling my ex at the time, like, this is a couple weeks before the show, like I was like, I'm gonna get so ripped, it's not even gonna be like I'm gonna look so good on stage. And so I remember doing my third session of cardio at midnight before I went to bed, and I had my legs were shaking because I think I went the last 6 weeks without any carbs at all. And
yeah,
so I remember holding on, and this is just walking. My legs felt like cinder, like cement blocks, and probably walking 1.5 miles an hour, and my legs are quivering, and I'm holding on to the railing, and
yeah,
I'm about, I don't know if I'm actually going to croak or pass out. And I remember saying to my ex, she goes, I think you should get off. You don't look good. And I was like, if I fall on the ground, call the ambulance. Like I refused to get off there until my time
yeah,
was done. And I
right,
remember right when we got off the treadmill, I was like, my body was shaking, my kind of heart was quivering and stuff. And I was like, I remember driving course right to McDonald's, right, and then like stuff in my face, and then okay, I'm good. So, but that's the mentality of people you're dealing with, right?
right. That's true. We're all like retarded during that period of time.
Yeah,
I remember I was just so cold, and it was at my last show I did, and it was like July. It was like really hot outside, and I was so freezing all the time. I couldn't, because my body fat was so low. I was just covered up. I'm like,
yeah,
and I remember I found a picture of like me doing posing like morning of, and it was like a close up of my face, and I was like, wow, I look like I have like two black eyes. My face is just so sunken in. I'm like,
yeah.
that is the worst picture. I look like a fucking crypt keeper. Like, why would
Yeah,
anybody want to do this shit?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
Anyways, yeah,
necessary. So,
bodybuilding's good times, good
yeah,
times.
yeah.
So nowadays, what do you do for your fitness nowadays?
I still train. Like in my mind, I'm still going to the Olympia, right? Like that's just the way,
Right,
like
right.
And so
Yeah,
if I miss a meal, I still have a tantrum. A lot
yeah,
of times, Danny will have to like, if I'll get bitchy, and it happens quite often, right? Like because I
right.
forget where I am. Like I don't feel like
Yeah,
I'm old anymore. I still feel like I'm 19. Besides, I'm
right,
stiff all the time. But I miss a meal, and like I have a little temper tantrum, and Danny will be like, what the fuck's your problem? You think you're going to the Olympia or something? Like fucking give it up, buddy, kind of deal, right? So it's like she's got to like kind of like give me a check every once in a while, because that's just how my, I
nice.
mean, I've done it for,
Right,
since like 35 years, right? Like that's
yeah,
in my head. If I miss a meal, like holy shit, now my day at the gym's wasted the next day, right? It's
right.
just it's,
Yeah,
it's the same way, and I
yeah,
don't try to lift heavy anymore, but I still lift like as heavy as I can, like but I work more on just I feel stuff, but I still, in my mind, it's like I go there and I probably work out harder than 75% of the people and stuff, but I'm still like
right,
I feel like I'm not working out. I haven't done anything because like I'm not on the verge of throwing up. Like that's just
right,
how I'm used to, right? Like it's like
right,
I was used to every day, like if you did legs, you couldn't walk or sit on the toilet for 3 or 4
right,
days like that, and you're in pain all the
right.
time, right?
Yeah,
And that's just, and you
yeah.
competed, muscles were sore or whatever, and then now you're older, your muscles aren't sore, but now my knees are sore and this is sore, but I'm kind of
Right,
used to it because I was sore all the time since I was 20 anyways, right?
right,
So
right. Yeah. No, I get it. Like, I still eat the same way. I mean, I meal prep. I probably eat like more strict now than when I was competing because I don't give myself as many like, you know, leniencies. But my training style has changed a lot because I had a lot of injuries. Like broke both my shoulders, and my elbows had like 3 surgeries, and my wrist and all this stuff. So I train a lot different now, but I still try to train like train pretty hard, but afterwards I'm always thinking like like I don't do anything. If someone's asked me like what do you do for training? I'm like, not really much. But I'm still working out like 6 days. I'm doing cardio 6 days a week. I'm I'm weight training. Like I only weight train like 3 days a week right now, but
Oh, yeah, and I think like I can get in the mindset to do it.
Mhm.
Like I could do it, but
Yeah.
I know if I actually get in the mindset to do it, I'm going to be injured. You know,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
just know I'll go like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that, and then I'm going to get injured. So there's no like,
Oh yeah, that's the thing is a couple years ago I was like I'm put on I thought, you know what, I'm gonna put on some more muscle. And I went back to, like my 5-day split and everything and I was training heavier. And I realized like my this is as straight as my arm will go. It's like super fucked up, right? Like it's had so much surgery. So I'm like, I have to train around how like my body will function now and like it just doesn't suit me to have more muscle but and I actually do enjoy it but I think sometimes my mind like if I'm feeling down or I'm feeling like nostalgic I'll be like you know what maybe I'll just go put on 20 pounds of muscle and see what I look like like
yeah,
my mind will just slip into that
yeah.
but
I
I'm
think,
not gonna
and
do that.
my problem is I still eat like I want to eat the same way. I'm like, yeah, you got to have that. Got oh, I didn't eat 3 hours, so I got to have this, and so I'm like, I just don't need to be eating that much like carbs and stuff. So I gotta. Danny's gonna start dieting here right away this week, and then I'm gonna diet down. Like I don't need to be sitting at 250. Like I'm
Right.
carrying lots of fat. Like there's no what's the point? Like I'm not going and squatting 700 pounds. I'm not like, you know,
Right.
I'm like you can't still say you're off season when you get old, right? Like yeah, I'm off season. Like you know.
When you haven't competed in 10 years you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
say
yeah. So
no.
it's like, but in my mind though,
Yeah.
still I'm off season, right?
Yeah.
So that
Right. Right.
I'm just gonna pretend that obviously I'm not getting on stage, but I'm like I got to pretend like she's dieting, I'm gonna diet tell, and I'm gonna diet just as hard. I'm not gonna get down like that last 10 pounds. So I'll get down to like 210 or something like that, and I'll look good. I won't look like a fat mess, right? So I'll do that, and then and then
Nice.
uh, and then, just and then I'll just maintain it and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be solo flex man now," like or Bowflex man, right? Like
Right.
that's
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Just and then just stay that way. That picture I sent you, was that the last competition you did? Was that after the last competition you did?
the one in Vancouver?
Yeah,
No,
I know that
no,
was oh, okay.
no, the last one
You
I did
just
was Laval.
okay, I don't know when
It
that
was a
was.
couple years after that. I don't. It
Okay,
was a couple years after that, but like I remember that show, like just how different bodybuilders changed at the competition level. Like just in my weight class, like I shouldn't have been light heavy, but I should have been heavyweight, but I went down to light heavy. The just in my light heavyweight class in the men's, there was 26 guys or something stupid.
oh, wow.
And every class was like that, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
I remember doing that show and there was like guys that were winning like the Ontario overall BC, like the bodybuilder. He was at the show and this
yeah.
guy was getting like third call outs or something. Like
Holy
that's how
shit.
it was stacked. I mean, I think that was my best showing. I ended up getting fourth at that show, but the guys that beat me, the guy who beat me got his pro card. And then the other two, one guy who beat me, I think has been to the Olympia. And then
Okay,
another guy's won the North Americans. Like the guys who beat me were like really good guys, right? Like, so
right.
you don't see guys like that anymore competing at that national bodybuilding anymore. It's just,
No, it was different back then for sure. But you looked amazing. Like you had a great physique and um you went really far. Like I thought you did great. I'm not just saying that because I'm your friend. So I was like, I thought you looked great. You
yeah,
got
I
really
thought,
lean and were like huge in the ring.
I probably could have like, at some point, I think in my late 20s, I went back to like community college because I was going to go to UBC or something, right?
Right.
And I started to for a year and a half or 2 years, I started taking classes, and I think that was in my earlier mid or I don't know, my late 20s or no mid, but it was like I went back just because it gave me an excuse to be like, because I would see other bodybuilders that were older than me because I hung out with a lot of older guys and stuff, and the ones that weren't pros and some ones that weren't pros, like they were just working in bars. They were like 45 years old, working in
Right.
Roxy nightclub. And I was like, I don't want to be some 40-year-old guy working in a fucking nightclub. Like
Yeah.
that's embarrassing. Kind of, do you want to do that
Right.
like the rest of your life kind of deal? And I was just
Yeah.
like, so I was like, I got to go to school. So I started taking classes just as a way to almost not feel bad about like
Right.
doing the bodybuilding, right? So But then when I was done that, when I came back here and went to university, because my grades weren't good enough to get into like UBC business school, you had to have like a
Right.
high 90, and I was like 80 or 75 or something. So of course I could get into the U of R business school because you just have to have
Right.
a passing grade, I think, to get in. So I came back here to finish school, and then I was still doing it, and I was still serious, but I was realized like, I'm 30 years old. I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia. Like, but in my head, I
Right.
was still in my head. You still got that mentality. You're training for that kind of deal, right? And at that point in time, yeah, at that point in time, like, there was that master's class they were giving out pro cards, and I'm sure like at some point, especially the last 5 years, like I probably could have went and got a master's pro card and been a
Right.
shitty pro and whatever.
Right.
And but I just know myself, if I would have did that, I almost get into like I'd probably run into health problems because I'd be more driven, even though I would be a shitty pro and never do anything. I would just be like,
Yeah.
oh, I just got to keep going and keep going,
Right.
and I
Right.
probably would have, you know, killed myself. And that's probably why those injuries that happened to me over the last few years or whatever, like 10 years, probably were good for me because I had to take a step back, and
Right.
that
Yeah.
those were the first times I ever took like probably more than four days away off in the gym in my life in like 25 years. Right. It's because when I
Right.
had to get surgery. So yeah, that kind of made me just pull away from, okay, you're not going to compete anymore. You're done. You got to kind of face the facts, right? Like you're getting old and you got to like, you're still going to work out, but you can't, be putting your body in harm's way anymore. Right. So you got to grow up, right? It was time to kind of grow up a bit.
Right.
Right. So,
So how old
got to
were
get the
you when
job
you
and all that shit. So
how old were you when you did your last competition?
I wasn't a master, I think. So I must've been right before, like, I don't know. I might have been close to 40, close, but I don't think because I
Okay.
think masters. I probably would have did the masters if there's no. Yeah, there was a masters because a buddy of mine did it. I wasn't old enough to do
Okay.
it.
Anyways, it was so great catching up with you, and,
Yeah,
how many dogs do you have right now?
I've got. Well, we've got four King Corsos right now, two
Oh,
females and two
nice.
males.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
awesome.
handful. It's a
Well,
handful.
it was so great to talk to you, and, I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Good luck. Thanks.